Hey, today is Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. We are on lesson 11:6 and we're continuing our topic of using different strategies to subtract multiples of 10. Today's target is I can use different strategies to subtract. So, what we're going to do today is you guys are actually going to choose which strategy that you would like to use based on the equation. So, let's take a look at some of the strategies that we have learned throughout this topic. So, the first strategy that we talked about was base 10 blocks. Base 10 blocks are where you can use 10 rods, this straight line, or you could use cubes, a dot to represent the ones, and you take away what it tells you to take away in the equation. For example, if it was 50, take away 20, to solve that using base 10 blocks, you could take away these zeros, take away your ones place, and that leaves you with 5 take away 2. So 5 take away 2 equals, that's right, 3. So 5 take away 2 is 3. So that means 5 tens take away 2 tens equals 3 tens. How much is 3 tens? 10, 20, 30. That's right. So 3 tens is 30. So we use base 10 blocks. If we wanted to draw that out, we could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens. Take away 2 tens. So 1, 2. That leaves us with 1, 2, 3 tens. 10, 20, 30. So that is the base 10 block strategy. And you say, well, Miss Baker, what do I do if I don't have base 10 blocks? What if I can't draw them out? What's another strategy to use? Well, another strategy to use is the 100 chart. Now today we're only going to be using a piece of the 100 chart because you may not need all of them. You just may need a portion of the 100 chart. So we're just going to use a piece of the 100 chart today to practice with. And then also you can use an open number line. Now remember, on an open number line and you are subtracting, you count backwards. That's right, you count backwards. So we're going to start on this side, the right side of the number line, and count backwards. And then also using addition to solve subtraction. And that is also using an open number line, but instead of counting backwards, we're going to count forwards to find the missing part. And finally, mental math is what we went over yesterday. And that's not using pencil, that's not using paper, that's not using your fingers, that's using your noggin, okay? So we're going to be talking about all of these strategies and when to use which strategy. Because there's some strategies and some equations that you could say, oh, that's easy, I can use mental math because I'm just subtracting a multiple of 10. I'm just subtracting 10. Or I'm really good at open number lines. I love jumping on the number line, so I'm going to use an open number line. Or I've got a 100 chart handy. Maybe I can just use the 100 chart. So we're going to talk about when you use which strategy, what strategy that you use, which one that you're more comfortable with. So let's practice using some of these strategies. Now, here is an equation. And the equation says 60 take away 40 equals blank. Now, what are we looking for? What are we looking for here? That's right, we're looking for the difference. What do we already know based on our equation? We know that the whole is 60 because it's the biggest number and we always subtract from the biggest number. So we know we're starting out with the whole. And one of our parts is 40, and then we're missing a part. Because remember, when you are doing a subtraction equation, you always subtract from the whole. Okay? Now also, if you look at the top, I've written out our tens, our multiples of 10. So we'll just have that visual reminder of counting backwards when we're counting by tens. Okay? Also, this is a piece of a 100 chart. It starts with 11 and ends at 70. Okay, so that's really the only numbers that we're really going to need is this section of the 100 chart. And then you see here I've got 2 number lines, open number lines. So the strategies we're going to talk about is 100 chart, open number line, and addition to solve subtraction. Okay, Because we're subtracting more than just one multiple of 10, we're not going to be using mental math. But if you're feeling pretty good about it and you think you know how to do it, instead of counting back 1 10, you can count back 4 tens, and then you could start at 60 and jump back 4 tens and see what you land on, okay? So the more you practice counting backwards in your head by tens, the easier mental math will be. So we're going to focus on these 3 strategies: 100 chart, open number line, and using addition to solve subtraction. So let's get started with a 100 chart. Let's look at our equation. 60 take away 40 equals blank. So we know that we always start with our biggest number on the 100 chart. And so what is our biggest number? That's right, is 60. So we're going to find 60. I know that 60 comes after the 50s. There it is. There is 60. And then what am I going to do? Am I going to go up the 100 chart, or am I going to go down the 100 chart? That's right, I'm going to go up, because when you go up on the 100 chart, the number gets smaller, and when you subtract, your number gets smaller. So I know that this is going to be smaller than 60. So let's see what it is. So if I know that where I'm going to start, I start at 60. I know what direction I'm going to go. I'm going to go up on the 100 chart because it's telling me to take away. Now, how many times am I going to go up? That's right, we're going to go up 4 times, because the number in the tens place tells you how many times to go up. Now remember, when you're counting on a 100 chart, every time you go up, you're counting by tens. That's right, we're counting by 10. So we're going to go up 4 times. So here's our magic number, it's 60. So I'm not going to count this as my first 10. I'm going to go up 1 and say 1, 2, 3, 4. Where did we land? We landed on 20. So the difference of 60 take away 40 equals 20. So that's our missing part, okay? Now, if we were going to use an open number line to solve that, an open number line is when we are subtracting and we're going backwards. So this tells us where we're going to start over here. So when we're subtracting, we always start on this side of the number line. So I'm going to mark that at 60. And then we know that we're going to be going backwards because we're subtracting. Subtracting means we're moving backwards. And we know how many times we're going to jump, because this number ends in a 0 in the ones place. So that means we're jumping. We're not taking those little hops. So we're going to jump 4 times. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, are we finished? Nope, because we don't know where we landed. So now we've got to put numbers for each of these jumps. So let's take a look at 60. What family comes before 60? If we look up here and we jump back 1, it is 50. So we have 60, 50. What would this one be? 40, 30. That's right, 20. So where did we land? We landed on 20. 20 was our missing part. Very good. So you did it with a 100 chart. You did it with an open number line. Now let's try using addition to solve subtraction. So if we looked, and let's pretend we don't know this little guy right there, okay? Let's pretend we don't know that one. And we just see 60 take away 40. What addition equation could we write using 60 take away 40 equals blank? Okay, I know my 60 is the whole. So when you add up to the whole. So I'm going to have blank plus blank equals 60. So this is part plus part. So let's go back up here and see what our P and P is. One part is 40. So I'm going to put the part I know here. And then this other part, I don't know. So I'm going to put a question mark because I don't know that. So let's read this equation together. 40 plus something equals 60. 40 plus something equals 60. So what does this tell me? This tells me that I'm going to start at 40 on the number line, and then I'm going to stop at 60, but I don't know how many times I'm going to jump to get there. So that's what I need to find out. How many times am I going to jump? So when you're adding, you always start on the left side of your number line. So I'm going to mark that as 40. And I know that I'm going to end on the right side, and I'm going to mark that as 60 because this tells me where to start. This tells me where to stop. Now I need to know how many jumps it's going to take to get there. So if I'm here at 40, I know after 40 comes 50, and after 50 comes 60. So let's see. This one was 40, 50, 60. Now, are we finished? No. We have to count how many jumps it took to get from 40 to 60. Let's count our jumps. 1, 2. So, is that just 2? No, that is 2 tens because each of these jumps are worth 10. Remember, a jump is worth 10. So 10 plus 10 equals, that's right, 20. So our missing part is 20. So what I would like for you to do today as you're working on your math practice is I want you to practice using different strategies. So it may be that you really, really like 100 charts. Well, challenge yourself. Try a different strategy. Maybe you really, really like using open number lines. Challenge yourself. Try something different because it may be that you will find that maybe using addition to solve subtraction is just as easy as using an open number line to solve subtraction. So try different strategies, see what works for you. Just as a heads up, we will be having an assessment or a show what you know coming up later on this week. So make sure that you're practicing these strategies and know how to use each one of those. And tomorrow we're going to talk about how to take subtraction equations and pull them out as of a subtraction story. So we're going to be working on subtraction stories tomorrow. So good luck with the strategies and keep practicing.